Hey, I'm Shane Smith, the owner of Genesis Off-Road. This is our installation video for our dual battery kit for the new Ford Bronco. Our Bronco dual battery kit is the easiest to install dual battery kit that we've come out with so far, but there are several little details that I'm going to walk you through to make it as easy as possible for you. So before we dive in, let me just show you what's going to come with this kit. Of course, you're going to get our Gen 3 power hub with all the wires built right into it. So all these wires are going to line right up with your battery posts, so there's no wiring for you to do at all. And you're going to get the new steel battery tray that's going to hold two Odyssey Group 25 batteries. So we're going to take the Odyssey batteries. Those are going to just drop right into the tray like this. And then the power hub will sit right on top, just like that. We're going to hook up the wires, and of course you're going to get all the hardware that you're going to need, so we'll walk you right through it. Now, it's a really tight fit in the engine bay for the Bronco, but with the Odyssey batteries, since they're tapered on the side, they're a little bit narrower down here at the bottom, they're going to fit perfectly. Now, you might be able to use some other brands of batteries, like the Full Throttle, where the sides come straight down, but it's probably going to require some modifications to the vehicle, and we want to keep things as easy as possible. So we strongly recommend just going with the Odyssey Group 25 batteries. Okay, so let's pop the hood and we're going to jump right in. Okay, we're going to dive right in by disconnecting the negative clamp on the battery with a 10mm and the positive clamp with this 10mm bolt here. Then we're going to remove this top bracket with a 13mm. There's two nuts on there. And then we can carefully pull the battery out. Okay, before we pull the battery tray out of here, we're going to disconnect this wire channel that's attached to the side of the battery tray with a little pry tool. Pop this loose right here, and the second one right down here. Then there's 4 bolts holding the tray in place. Now, before we put our new tray in here, let's take a look at what we've got. When we set the new batteries in here, they're going to sit a little bit higher. So it's going to be tough to put the positive post clamp back on top of that battery. So we need to go down this wire, follow down the wire channel. There's a couple of zip ties securing this wire bundle to a little bracket down low here. We're going to cut these 2 zip ties and bring this wire channel up a little bit, and then we'll re-secure it to the bracket. Okay, so now you can see where the zip tie was around this wire bundle. We're going to pull this up just a couple of inches. That's all we need to get on top of the battery. So we're going to go with our zip tie back through that little bracket right there, around the wire bundle. And when you tighten that up, just pull your bundle up a little bit and tighten that one. So you can see we gained just about 2 inches on that bundle there. And let's put one more down low around the bracket to keep it away from the drive belt. Okay, let's drop our new tray in here. And this is going to line up with the factory mounting points over here on the fender. And you'll notice right away that the side of the tray is kind of bumping this inner fender liner material. These inner fender liners are flexible. So we're going to push this down just a little bit in order to rotate our tray around so that you can see the factory mounting points in the bottom. And then we'll reuse the factory bolts. Okay, now we built in a little bit of adjustability into the tray with the slots for the bolts. So you do have a little bit of room to wiggle the tray around in small amounts if you need to. We want to make sure this tray is sitting nice and flat against that factory support down there. So just run these down just finger tight and make sure the bottom of the tray is sitting nice and level. Then we'll tighten up the ones on the fender side first. That's going to draw the tray over to the fender a little bit. Then we can tighten up the bottom. Okay, we're going to set our accessory battery in here and slide it all the way over to the fender. And we need this battery to go all the way over to the fender. It's going to be bumping against this factory radiator core support bracket over here. And then on this side, it's going to bump up against a plastic wire channel going into the fuse box. So we need that battery as far this way as possible. Lower the cranking battery in here. And now you've got a little bit of room on the bottom of the tray for these batteries to shift left and right a little bit. The most important thing we're watching for is clearance over here by these tubes and by the some of the other engine components and we want to make sure that the batteries are not rubbing up against these hoses and tubes over here. Also, make sure both of the batteries are sitting completely flush down on the tray. If you need to wiggle them around a little bit, make sure it's nice and flat across the top of the batteries. If you need to shift things around a little bit, go ahead and do that now. Okay, now we're ready to drop our power hub in place, and I'm gonna go ahead and drop these bolts through the lid since it is a little bit tight to get your fingers in here on this side, and I'm gonna go ahead and drop them in on this side as well. And then we're gonna slide this power hub in right from the front here and set that down right on top of the tray, those threaded holes on the tray, and then we'll use a ratchet and an extension to bolt those down. Now we designed the power hub lid to sit just a little bit above the tray, so you may notice a slight gap between the two pieces. That's to allow for some minor variations between the height of batteries. So I'm gonna come back and just tighten these up like you would do lug nuts on your tires, and do a crisscross pattern. Okay, with the power hub in here, we're gonna start hooking up our cables. We're gonna start with the factory positive post clamp over here. So let's bring this over and get that attached to the positive post. If you're having a hard time getting this large positive post clamp box onto the battery, you may need to slide the battery back this way a little bit to give you some room to clear this big box. So you need to reach down here and pull this up a little bit to get that to seat onto the battery post a little bit better. And then tighten that up. Now, because of this big box, there's not a good way to access the power for our cable connection. So we've provided you with this little bus bar connector piece. This is gonna go on this unused terminal over here inside of this box. We're gonna slide this right on that stud right there. And then hold that down with the supplied nylock nut. Okay, then we're gonna take our wire and attach to that bus bar right here and secure that with the other nylock nut. Next, let's do the positive for the accessory battery. Next, let's do the cranking battery negative. And if you need to switch this bolt and nut around to be a little bit easier to access, you can do that. And finally, let's do the factory negative post clamp. Put that up on top. Then we're gonna remove this 10mm nut and attach our wire there. Okay, that's it. We got all 4 connections nice and tight. Make sure all your post clamps are really good and secure. And that's all there is to it. So we got the whole kit installed now. Just double check your clearance over here by the engine. Make sure you got all this little bus bar connector tight in here. And we're done with the installation. So now, whenever you hook up your aftermarket electrical accessories, you'll connect everything to the power and ground bus bars. So anything that you connect to these bus bars over here will run from the power in the second battery, and those devices will not drain down your cranking battery. But just keep in mind that your factory fuse box is hardwired right to the cranking battery. So that means all of your factory electronics, like your radio, your headlights, your dome lights, your stock 12-volt outlet inside, all those kind of things are always going to run from your cranking battery. So the whole idea of our system is to protect the cranking battery from getting drained down by your aftermarket accessories. If we missed anything, let us know in the comments down below, and thanks for watching. Hey, I hope that video helped you out. If it was helpful to you, please hit the subscribe button and like this video. That really does help us out. If you have any questions, please leave us a comment in the comment section down below or send us an email. And remember, it all starts with power.